Hey guys, so you probably hear this a lot, that the most dangerous creation in the world is man. Sometimes it's hard to dispute, but what can a man driven to despair, and that has nothing to lose, do? Well, maybe you remember the movie about the Vietnam War vet John Rambo in Rambo: First Blood, played by Sylvester Stallone. He couldn't sit there while there were injustices and went to fight against the government. Our story, unlike the one thought of by author David Morrell, is real, but is just as impressive as the famous blockbuster. So before we talk about Marvin Haymeyer's vengeance, let's look at a bit of the backstory for this conflict, kind of like the origin story, right? So Marvin lived in the small town of Granby in Colorado that is home to just 2,000 residents. He mostly worked as a welder and had his own repair shop where he fixed cars and other machines. This was his main source of income. So the war vet's shop shared a wall with the Mountain Park Inc. concrete batch plant. The plant's management decided to expand their land by building another technical line, which required buying the surrounding plots of land. They were all soon purchased. Well, actually, almost all of them. The only one left was the plot belonging to the war vet. Now, there are two stories that explain what happened next, but both end the same. The first says that the plant's management offered the man $250,000 for his land, and he seemed to agree at first, but then baselessly raised the price to $400,000 and finally to $1 million. However, many say this story was put online by the plant owner's family to ruin Marvin Haymeyer's reputation. Now, according to the second story, Marvin from the beginning didn't plan on selling his plot of land for any amount. So either way, the plant needed his land at any cost. So once it was clear that he wasn't going to cooperate, the huge corporation used the corrupt local administration and started attacking the veteran. As we already said, it's a pretty small town, and it was ruled by the influential Thompson family, which the plant management needed to speak with. So when it was all done, Marvin's troubles began. So first, they closed off the road he used when driving to his shop. So in return for that, Haymeyer decided to make a new road, and even bought an old bulldozer to do so. But the city administration didn't give him a license to lay a new road. So then the bank found fault with their previously made mortgage and threatened to take his home. Tax and fire inspectors came to see Marvin several times. Sanitary and epidemiological inspectors also came and fined him $3,000 for disconnected sewer lines in his land. Now that happened despite the fact that he couldn't connect them to the sewers, since the land he would have to dig through belonged to the plant that wouldn't give him permission. In the end, he had to pay endless fines and at one point even started writing cowards on his checks. He spent several uninterrupted weeks in his shop, but when his father died, he went to bury him. While he was out of town, his electricity and water were both shut off. He tried to dispute this in court, but naturally, there was no use. Then the Vietnam War vet shut himself in the shop for several months to get revenge on everyone who tried to take his land away. On June 4, 2004, Marvin Haymeyer finished his creation. A huge, powerful bulldozer with 12 millimeters of armor. It was so armored that it didn't even have a window for him to look out of. Instead, the bulldozer had several cameras that showed images on a monitor inside. This was a fortress on wheels. He also installed AC, gas masks, and a fridge with food and water inside. 3 rifles stuck out from the inside as well. And it was impossible to break inside the machine since he put himself inside before the armor was completed using a special machine. It's not hard to guess that getting out of the bulldozer was also impossible. It really seems like Marvin wasn't planning to anyway. So, fast forward to June 4th, 2004, at 2:30. Marvin initiated his revenge plan. So first he drove through the plant's land, ripping the building apart to the very last scrap. Then, he moved across the city and damaged the homes of the city council, destroyed the bank that tried to pressure him into paying his mortgage early, destroyed the gas company's building that refused to give him cooking gas cans, and tried to shoot at propane tanks. He also destroyed the town hall, the city council's office buildings, and the fire department, warehouses, and several homes belonging to the mayor and city police. He demolished the local newspaper that wrote articles against him and the public library that was unluckily next to the town hall. In short, Marvin destroyed everything that had at least a tiny bit to do with the local government, including their private homes. Of course, there were attempts to stop the infuriated man. First, the local sheriff and deputies used revolvers and shotguns that were unsuccessful. Then they called on the local SWAT and hunters. The SWAT teams had grenades and the hunters had rifles. One police officer got on the bulldozer and tried to drop a grenade in the exhaust pipe, but Marvin foresaw this and put a grate there. He also used the rifles that faced outside. He mostly used them to scare them by firing into the sky, but that still kept the police away from the vehicle. In total, counting the hunter shots and the 40 other people firing, the bulldozer was attacked over 200 times by anything from a revolver rounds up to grenades. The city's mayor wanted to call the National Guard so they would perform an airstrike on the bulldozer. However, the local police that were joined at the time by the state police talked the mayor down. The Air Force could also damage surrounding homes, increasing the already extensive damage. Great hope was placed on a farming transport machine, but the bulldozer took care of that, no problem. So all the police could really do was evacuate the locals and block off roads. When there was nothing left to destroy, Marvin decided to destroy one more small shop called Gumballs since they refused to sell him goods. But that was his last target, since during the destruction, the bulldozer was overwhelmed by roof fragments. The machine got stuck and shut off. In the end, Marvin Haymeyer's war ended at 4:25. The police were afraid to approach the bulldozer for over 2 hours, but then they started digging a hole in the armor. When they got through, they realized Marvin had no plans on going to prison. By the time the police got to him, he had already sent himself on to the next life with his pistol's help. He didn't want to be captured. Marvin Haymeyer's vengeance cost the city $5 million and the plant another $2 million. However, the plant began working again in just 10 days, and the rest was either replaced or repaired. Haymeyer's bulldozer was then called the Killdozer. The administration decided to rip it to pieces so that it couldn't be a symbol for others like Marvin, for other desperate people that would decide to repeat his actions. Well, that's all for today. Don't forget to leave us a like and let me know in the comments if this is the craziest story you've ever heard in your life. It is for me, for sure. And we'll see you again next time.